Inside the Lines is brought to you by Hendrick Honda of Charleston. When you buy a new or pre-owned vehicle, our Advantage program takes care of you for life. Make Hendrick Honda of Charleston your first choice for your next vehicle. Visit their showroom at 1478 Savannah Highway in Charleston or online at charlestonhonda.com. Welcome once again to Inside the Lines here on CFCSports.com. I'm Jeff McCarragher. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we are presented by Hendrick Honda over on Savannah Highway here in Charleston. We come to you today, obviously, inside beautiful TD Arena here in downtown Charleston, and a lot to get to this week. Has 6 different sports making headlines this week. We'll talk men's and women's tennis, men's and women's golf. Also have track and field for you, and a big signing week this week for the men's basketball team. But let's get right to it and start with women's golf. Southern Conference Championships this week, and here are the results for the College of Charleston. They finished 4th in the Southern Conference behind Chattanooga, Furman, and UNCG. There you see the Cougars with 921 was their overall score. Samford right behind them at 927. Elon, Wofford, Appalachian State, Western Carolina, and the Citadel. Also, on an individual note, congratulations to Mary Chandler Bryan as she finished a disappointing 2nd after a playoff. Just missed winning the overall in the individual, but still good season for Jamie Futrell and the golf team as he talked about this weekend.
Yeah, it was great to see Mary Chandler finish really tied for first, losing a playoff. I mean, the girl hit it to 1 foot, so there's not much Mary Chandler. She actually hit some of her best shots of the weekend. The girl just was a little better that time. So very proud of her. Julia Newman, once again, wasn't as good as she's been, but she played really well, fought through it. Just didn't get a deep enough performance, and it was a little disappointing just simply because we'd come off a really good tournament coming in, and we just didn't follow it up. So it speaks for how good the conference is. You know, we put 3 players on the all-conference and 2 on the all-freshman team, and you finish 4th. So it tells you how deep the conference is. We just didn't play our best. Wish we would have, but you know, we had a good year overall.
Again, congratulations to the women as they finish 4th in the Southern Conference tournament. We'll switch from the women's side over to the men's side. Mark McIntyre and his group will be in action in the Southern Conference tournament coming up next week, April 21st through the 23rd. Here's a look at the upcoming schedule for the Southern Conference tournament. Again, the 21st through the 23rd of April at Ralston Creek Course at the Daniel Island Club for the 2nd straight year. Of course, the team champion receives an automatic bid into the NCAA Division I Men's Golf Championship. The conference's individual medalists will also qualify if their school does not advance, and everyone will be gunning for defending champion Chattanooga this year.
I think we're as confident as we've been since I've been here at the college going into the Southern Conference. 2 weeks ago, we had a final round at the Hootie, which showed our team that we can play with the best teams in the country. We shot even par. The next week, we ended up beating Florida, ranked 9 in the country, in a head-to-head match where we're going to play the 2015 NCAA Championship. From there, we went to the Gary Koch and finished 6th out of 15. Played with Wake Forest and Florida again the last 2 rounds. Beat a lot of quality teams, top 15 teams, top 50 teams. And again, just showed our guys that they can play with the biggest teams in the country. We're outside the rankings for postseason, so we need to go play well. I think there's a chance if we finish 2nd that if the chips fall where they may, we might get an at-large bid, but the hardest part for our guys is going to be not to put too much pressure on themselves and try too hard. It's golf. It's just a funny game. And if they go do what they're supposed to do, continue to build on the confidence that they've got in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I expect for us to contend. You know, the only thing from a coach's standpoint that I want them to do is just try, give effort, go through solid course management. If they make a mistake, don't make 2. Then we should be okay. And if we try too hard and try and compounding 2 things and try and make the golf ball fit in that hole, it's going to be a tough week.
And once again, good luck to the golf team as they embark on the Southern Conference tournament coming up next week. Speaking of Southern Conference championships, track and field will have their Southern Conference tournament championship this weekend. Here is the schedule. It'll be down at Georgia Southern in Statesboro. The top 8 in each event that score will go towards the team total, while the top 3 in each event are awarded all conference honors. The defending champion is Appalachian State. Got a chance to catch up with the head coach, Amy Seago.
We do talk pretty frequently about just going out and doing your work every day and approaching a championship race the exact same way that we would approach any meet throughout the season. And I think that concept you know, we're not trying to put more pressure on them. They all know what they need to do, and I think you rise to the occasion when that energy is there and your competitors help you to get better, and I think they're starting to understand that. We do still have a young group where, you know, we have some who it's going to be a learning process, and we know that it takes sometimes several years to get that mentality, but I definitely think we're in the right direction. We're starting with the concept of, I'm just going to go out and do the best that I can. It's not that it needs to be a superhuman effort. It's do what you do every day, and you are ready, you're fit, you're peaked, ready to roll at the right time. So just trust it, trust the training.
And once again, good luck to all the teams competing in the Southern Conference Championships coming up this weekend. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll talk men's and women's tennis. And, of course, a big week for the men's basketball team. It is signing week, and so we'll have the new recruits coming here to the College of Charleston to talk about as well. That comes your way next as we continue right here on Inside the Lines.
At Hendrick Honda of Charleston, you get our best price every day. When you buy a new or pre-owned vehicle, our Advantage program takes care of you for life. We offer a lifetime powertrain limited warranty, free towing and shuttle service, complimentary loaner cars, and paintless dent repair. Make Hendrick Honda of Charleston your first choice for your next vehicle. Visit us today at 1478 Savannah Highway in Charleston or online at charlestonhonda.com.
Welcome back inside TD Arena, another episode of Inside the Lines for you right here on CFCSports.com. I'm Jeff McCarragher. Each week our show, as always, brought to you by Hendrick Honda over on Savannah Highway. Talked about men's and women's golf in the first half of the show. Let's switch over and talk about men's and women's tennis here in this part. Also basketball coming up as it is signing week for the men's basketball team. First off, again, tennis. Another great season for the women's tennis team. Here are the final standings for women's tennis in the Southern Conference. College of Charleston in first place at 9-1 in SoCon play, 17-8 overall, followed by Elon at 8-2, UNCG and Furman also right behind the Cougars at 8-2. Chattanooga at 6-4, App State at 6-4. Then it drops off a bit with Georgia Southern, Samford, Davidson, Wofford, and Western Carolina. So here is the Southern Conference Tournament bracket coming up. Charleston will play the winner of Samford and Davidson. There you see the Bulldogs, the 8 seed, Davidson, the 9 seed. Again, the Cougars will take on the winner of that matchup. And then in the bottom half of that bracket, UNCG and Appalachian State got a chance to catch up with Angelo and Astapolo, the head coach for the women's tennis team.
You know, it's been one of, you know, trying to manage the injuries and not knowing if you're going to have enough players. You know, coming into the season, we did think we had a very talented team that, you know, is possibly a top 30 team in the country. But, you know, that all just went by the wayside, and we've kind of had to refocus and just, you know, manage the best we possibly can day by day. And in the end, it was enough to earn the #1 seed entering the Southern Conference Tournament, barely, with a little luck there. And but it has been very difficult this year and something I haven't experienced in 22 years. I think it's made them very humble and know that each person has a very specific role in each match, and they have to be at their best and have to constantly keep improving. So we never know who that one match might come down to, and so each person has been prepared and has been doing a great job each day in practice. We're going back up to Elon, where it was last played in 2009. That's where we first won the streak of 4 that we've had in a row. So we're excited to get back there, but it's going to be a tough task. There's a lot of teams that can win it this year, some talented players. We'll have to certainly be at our best to come out victorious this year at the Southern Conference Championships.
Again, a great year for the women's tennis team as they will be going for their 5th consecutive Southern Conference title. Now we'll switch from the women's side over to the men's side. A good season for the men's tennis team as well. Here are the final standings in the Southern Conference. As you see, Elon in first place, followed by UNCG, College of Charleston, and Samford, all tied for second place at 7-3 in conference play. Overall, the Cougars finished at 12-8. And there you see the rest of the standings with Chattanooga, Georgia Southern, Davidson, Furman, App State, Wofford, and the Citadel winless this season at 0-10 in Southern Conference play, 7-13 overall. And here is the men's tennis bracket for the Southern Conference Tournament coming up. Davidson and Wofford will take on the winner of that match. Will take on Samford. They're in the bottom half of the bracket. You see the College of Charleston got the #3 seed overall, and they will take on the winner of Georgia Southern and the Citadel. So a big weekend coming up for men's tennis as well.
You can play seasons where things happen kind of easily and just fall into place, and you aren't tested that much. But you know, we've had to develop a lot of will and determination this season, and sort of had to lean on each other as a team. It's made the team a lot stronger, and I think out of the 8 matches that we lost, I think 6 of them have been 4-3 matches. And the team's had great chances in every match, and that's all we can ask for when we get out and compete, that everybody puts it on the line. And as a team, we've had different people step up in and out every match, and that's what this Southern Conference is going to come down to, a team that's able to get 4 points. But I think this one, even more than others, is going to come down to who's been tested throughout the season, so they're ready to play 3 back-to-back matches that are tough, because I don't think anybody's getting an easy match this year.
Once again, good luck to both men's and women's tennis. Big weekend coming up in the Southern Conference Championships. Wrap up this week's show with some basketball news. Big week for the men's basketball team. Signing week, official signing day on Wednesday. And here is the first official signing class for Doug Wojcik and his staff for the men's side. Joe Cheeley and Terrence O'Donohue, we've been talking about them a lot. We've known about them for a while. Cheeley, 6'3", 180, a guard out of Apopka, Florida. Terrence O'Donohue, 6'7", 225, out of Norcross High School in Georgia. And the 2 new signings, Jonathan Cook, a guard from Memphis, Tennessee, 6'1", 175. And the final signed for head coach Doug Wojcik is Glenn Pierre. He's a center, 6'11", 210, out of Orlando, Florida. So a tall center for Doug Wojcik. Got a chance to catch up with the head coach about his first recruiting class.
I'm not, I don't know. I used to be a big red shirt guy, but no, I think you have to play them. I mean, the one thing is trying to maintain your program. Maybe the hardest thing to do in college basketball is to develop depth. Say, let's just use football as an example. Every kid coming out of high school, for the most part, unless they're a phenom, expects to be redshirted in football. You can't go to the NFL until you play 3 college seasons. Our rules are completely different. Whether a kid can go or not, some kids think about going. Okay? Look at all the kids who are declaring for the NBA draft right now. So the delicate matter is really to keep kids happy, develop depth, win, create this culture that the players demand from each other, and yet get older. So that's a balance that they'll play. I'd like to see Anthony Stitt have a little bit of a break sometimes. I think he's better than. I thought, at times I wore out Andrew Lawrence, but I had no choice. And so there were times that we were really thin inside, especially when Trent was hurt. Willis gets hurt. Otherwise, I think we beat George Mason. He doesn't play in that last game. So I think we play him.
That'll wrap things up for this week's episode of Inside the Lines here on CFCSports.com, presented by Hendrick Honda over on Savannah Highway. Thanks for tuning in. Again, good luck to all the teams in action this week in the Southern Conference Tournament Championships. Of course, we'll have all the results for you next week right here on Inside the Lines. I'm Jeff McCarragher. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you again next week.